Happy Camper Radio, episode 27. Come on, let's go camping. Hello, my friends, and welcome back once again to the Happy Camper Radio Show. We are up to episode 27, and Daniel, you know, we are celebrating a mile mark here on the program.
What mile is that?
We are at the 6-month point.
Wow. It was just yesterday we were lighting the fire.
Talking and entertaining and having a great time with a lot of fellow campers out there for the past 6 months. And, you know, it seems like yesterday. Yes, I mean, it just seems like we were just getting started. And I got to admit, you know, we have made quite a few friends over the past 6 months, too. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of great emails from folks, phone calls. And, I mean, it's just all good people out there who are celebrating and enjoying nature just like you and I. Woo-hoo. And speaking of nature, just breathe some of that fresh, cool air in. It's the fall season.
It is. And it's falling.
You know, and you are getting prepared to head out the door, aren't you?
I am.
In just a day or two. Wow.
The wife is off effective right now. I didn't put in for Saturday early enough, and I have to work on Saturday.
That poor young lady. She's going to make all the preparations.
That's her job.
Okay, I believe you. Well, let's go ahead and get our campfire lit here. Speaking of the cool temperatures, let's just go ahead and warm up right now. Yeah. You know, Daniel, this is the place to be when we're ready to talk camping, and we do it up right every time. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. It's the Happy Camper Radio Show. It's time to grab your favorite lawn chair, your camping chair, whatever you feel comfortable in. Just pull up right next to the fire and right here with Daniel and I as we sit back and talk about camping, as we do each and every week here on the program. Now, Daniel, I have got a great episode lined up for our folks today, and I'll tell you something, I really think you are going to enjoy this one. You know what we're going to be talking about, Daniel?
Hey, it's a surprise every week.
It's a surprise every week. Well, you know something? This particular week, Daniel, you did not prepare the show notes. So, yeah, I mean, that was put on my shoulders here.
Hey, you got big shoulders, so you can handle it.
You think so?
I got things in the works, fellow campers. Don't worry.
We're going to put them to work today. And the reason I say that is because Daniel is going to be out the door before I will. Yep. So this particular week, we're going to be talking about a subject matter that I know is going to have his undivided attention, because there's going to be part of the preparation process that he is going to have to get involved in. And this week, we're going to be talking about travel preparation and safety. It coincides with your camping trip, and it is just as important as it is to pack up your gear and head out the door. You've got to have a plan in place, and you've got to make sure that your vehicle is up for the trip, regardless of how far you're going. Even if it's just around the corner or maybe 3 or 4 hours away from home. You know, you want to make sure that you get there safely, and you want to make sure that your vehicle is up to par and it brings you back from your camping trip safely. Now, it's very easy, Daniel, and I know you've been camping quite a few years yourself. It's very easy to get caught up in the excitement on the day that you leave for your trip.
I always feel like I'm forgetting something. No matter what, I always feel like I'm forgetting something.
Well, you know what you don't want to do is forget about the safety features of your vehicle. And you don't want to forget the preparations you need to make there so you don't have problems out on the road. I encourage everybody a day before they head out on their trip is to pay careful attention to the vehicle that they are going to be taking. Most likely, it's going to be the family vehicle. In your case, it's going to be the truck, because you're going to be hauling that pop-up camper.
Yep.
Now, granted, it's a relatively new truck with low miles on it, but still, there's going to be some safety performance measures that you're going to have to take before you go on this trip. And how many hours are you going to be traveling? About 8?
Ooh, no. We're going halfway down, and then we're going to stay at a hotel, and then we're going to go all the way.
You are going to stay in a hotel, and you've got that pop-up camper. Daniel, you never cease to amaze me.
Hey,
why not pull into a campground?
It's called setup. I don't want to do it. I only want to do it once.
Well, I'm not going with you, so I'm not going to say anything more about that. But you're going to want to make sure that when you get out on the road, that everything is taken care of. You want to have the confidence in mind that you're not going to have any problems. Now, one of the things you definitely want to do before you take off, perform that safety check. Check the air in your tires. Make sure that they are up to the tire manufacturer's specification. Make sure that your brakes are functioning properly. If you haven't had your brakes checked in a while, you may want to go ahead and take it to a shop and have the professionals look at it. Make sure you top off your fluids. Get an oil change if need be. All those little things that need to be done ahead of time, you need to go ahead and focus on that before you head out on your trip. The last thing you need in a trip like you're going on, which you're going to be gone a little more than a week, you don't want to have any of your travel time broken down into repairs, sitting for hours in a repair shop, waiting on a tow truck. One of the things that I tell everybody, when you go camping, you want to get away from the stress. You want to be in a stress-free environment. So therefore, you don't want to have to carry any more of the headaches of life down the road with you. And if you don't get some of these things done ahead of time, you definitely will be taking them with you. And that's a good way to put a damper on a camping trip. Daniel, I know what I'm talking about because I've been around a while and I have been there and done that. I have run into problems out on the road.
Oh, yeah,
and
me
one
too.
of them, believe it or not, one of them was very unexpected here about a year ago when I was traveling up to the mountains and I didn't get a flat tire on my pickup truck, but the trailer that I haul behind with all my gear in it got a flat tire.
Where did it happen?
It happened midway between here and the North Georgia mountains.
We had a flat up in Marietta when we were going up to Chattanooga one time, and we had to pull into Walmart and get the tire replaced, and it took about 2 or 3 hours, and it was not enjoyable.
It wasn't a pleasant experience.
But you can't do anything about that. I mean, stuff like that happens sometimes. It
But,
always seems to happen when you're going on a trip,
yeah, but
though.
Daniel, you can go ahead and at least cut down the possibility that it's going to happen. All right, and that's definitely what you want to do.
There's always AAA. AAA, I think, and roadside assistance is an important thing.
It really is, and it's important to have those emergency telephone numbers with you too.
Yeah.
If you are a subscriber to AAA, in some cases your insurance company provides emergency roadside service.
That's what I got.
So and a very simple number on your insurance card may handle that. But you know your policies better than anybody else. So make sure that you have those numbers available, and make sure you have a charged cell phone, because you're going to have to make that call.
Come on, I thought we were roughing it here, Skip.
Well, it's you're en route to your trip. You want to make it as convenient as you possibly can to get there. Once you're at the campsite, that's another story.
Then it's all about roughing it.
Then we can argue as to what we're going to do as far as being modern or being primitive.
Right.
But yes, make sure that you have all of those things taken care of before you go. All right. Another thing you want to do, Daniel, and I don't know, are you in charge of the grocery shopping for your trip?
We shop when we get there.
Do you? Okay.
Well, for the most part, I don't know. I leave it all up to the wife.
If you know where you're going, and you can allocate the time for that. Myself personally, I've got a big red cooler in the garage that
did I borrow it last time I was camping?
I stole it back from you.
Oh, did I give that back to you? Oh, we're gonna have to do something about that.
Yeah, I want to make sure you don't get your hands on it again. But what I do is I go ahead out a day before, the same time that I do the preparation of getting my vehicle ready for the trip. I also take that same day to do the grocery shopping. And of course, my grocery list is made out in advance.
Right.
I know exactly what I'm going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner each day. And and I make sure that I have all my spices and everything that I need that I'm going to be taking up. Because the last thing I want to do is get up there. And I've got to tell you, Daniel, unlike your situation, where I go camping regularly. Now, I do venture out to other places, but I do have a favorite spot that I go to.
Right.
The campground is located about 10 miles away from town. that would be one heck of a haul to pick up a carton of eggs.
That's true.
All right. So, no, I'm going to make sure that I have everything that I need right then and there. Okay. So, and I bring it all with me.
Right.
You know, I pack the cooler. I have a box that I put the dry goods in. But I make sure that I take this and get it done in advance.
Right.
It's so important to have that done. Now, if you're going to be taking a cooler with you, you know, a big, you know, strong insulated cooler, make sure you pack it with plenty of ice.
Or dry ice. We tried dry ice.
Dry ice works out well too, and it lasts a whole lot longer. Okay, you know, if you have access to it now, you know, not everybody may have access to a place that sells dry ice, but everybody can pick up a 5-pound bag of ice and stock their cooler with it real well. You know, and you want to make sure you get all of this done ahead of time, so when the day comes, the following day, that you go pack up your vehicle with all of your necessities to take on your camping trip, this is one less thing that you have to worry about. You've got your vehicle taken care of, you've got your food packed in the coolers, and all you've got to do is load up the family and go. Now, again, you know, one of the important things that I want to talk about here, too, about, you know, making sure that your tire pressure is upright and you've got a, you know, good, reliable set of tires on your vehicle. Unlike you and I, who drive pickup trucks, not everybody is going to have a truck that they're going to take on their camping trip. Some people may have a passenger vehicle with a trunk. Some may have a hatchback. But somewhere in there, on top of your spare tire, is going to be all of your camping gear.
Right.
Now, imagine yourself getting a flat tire and having to pull off to the side of the road. Not only are you going to have to dig out that spare tire, you're going to have to unload all of your camping gear off to the side of the road just to get to your spare tire. And then you're going to have to worry about getting that tire replaced or repaired, so you don't have another blowout on the way home.
Yeah.
So, you know, you understand the importance of what I'm talking about here.
I think in my situation, I know they have, you know, what they call donuts, but I would carry a spare tire, like an actual tire, so you don't have to, you know, go somewhere right then. Because a donut, you know, it only is supposed to last, you know, 30, 50 miles. I mean, it even says it on the tire. And I think a regular tire that you can replace is a lot better. So, you know, okay, you get a flat tire, you replace it with a spare, it's a full tire, you're back on your way, you're ready to go, instead of, oh, I've got to buy a new tire, where am I gonna go? I'm on this donut, I don't want to be on this donut for a while. And I just think that's a lot better. I know my truck comes with a tire, and you know, most like bigger vehicles I think come with a full tire. But when you're in a regular car, that's just a donut. And I would highly suggest getting a spare tire, an actual tire, so in that, you know, if in the event of something like that, when you're camping and you need to change the tire, you can change the tire and be on your way and not have to worry about it like you would if you have a donut. Because when you have a donut, I don't know if you've ever driven with a donut, but
I have.
It'll pull hard to the left or the right, and you don't want to be driving like that for a long distance. So,
and I believe if you look in your operating manual for your vehicle, regardless of the year, it's going to tell you in there that that is only a temporary tire to get you to the place that you need to get your tire repaired.
Right.
You're not to be driving long distances on it. You know, and sad to say, Daniel, I see this every day out on the road. I see people driving with donuts.
I know, that's crazy.
You know, and you know, hey, I know sometimes, you know, things are tough, you know, but you know, you've got to get that main tire repaired. Okay. You know, but I think back, you know, just telling you about, you know, last year having the situation where the tire went out on my little pull-along trailer. That right there set me back an hour and a half. All right? Time that I could have spent at the campground.
Yeah.
And I am out on the road doing something that I really did not plan to do. You know, and granted, these things do come up from time to time.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. While we were getting our camper ready for DC, like during the spring, our spare tire for our pop-up looked kind of rough. I was like, I want a new one. I want a whole new tire. So if anything goes wrong, I've got a brand new spanking tire that hasn't even touched the road yet that I can replace, and we can get on the road. I've got an extra tire in my truck. I've got an extra tire on my pop-up. So if God forbid anything happens, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and one other thing, Daniel, I want to point out for the safety of not only yourself, but because I know you're going to be doing a lot of highway travel on the way down to Florida. But for those of our listeners out there that do plan on traveling the interstates, if by chance you do have a blowout, if you do get a flat tire while you're on the interstate, please make sure that you pull off to the right-hand side somewhere that it is safe, as far off to the right-hand side as you possibly can, where you're going to feel comfortable changing that tire. I'm not encouraging that you ride on that flat to the next exit.
Yeah.
You may not make it, all right? But the last thing you want to do is be out there on the edge of the freeway with people driving at the speeds that they do.
Definitely.
I can recall a time, back when the kids were younger, and Mom, God rest her soul in heaven now, but we had a situation where we had a blowout on the interstate, and I pulled off as far to the right as I possibly could. And once we got out, I made sure that they exited the right-hand side of the vehicle and walked up and stayed on the hillside away from that vehicle. So, if you do have that situation, please make sure, for the safety of you and your family, before you tend to that blown out tire, that you get your family out of the vehicle and get them up on the hillside if at all possible.
Right.
So they're out of the vehicle just in the event that something were to happen, a vehicle pulls off to the side of the road and doesn't see you or something like that. And, heaven forbid, my heart starts pounding when I have to change a tire on the interstate. I try to avoid it at all costs. And again, like you said, that's good where AAA comes in. Now, here in the state of Georgia, we've got what are called the HERO units.
Right.
And man, I'll tell you, Daniel, those guys are a lifesaver right there. HERO stands for Highway Emergency Response Operation, and it's run by the state. And if you run into a problem, you pick up the phone, and I think it's 511 that you call here in Georgia. And as long as you are on an interstate, if you're on a state highway or something like that, these guys can get dispatched out there, and they've got big emergency trucks with all the emergency lighting and everything on you, and they can come out there and assist you in any way they possibly can.
Well, that's important because, I don't have this, and I should probably get this, but you're supposed to have what are they called? Not flashers, but what are the things you call that you light up the sticks?
You mean the flares?
Flares. You're supposed to have flares because you want to make sure that the people that are going 80, 90 miles an hour down the road, don't veer into you. Because I've seen it. I've seen it on television.
I haven't seen flares in I don't know how long, but I have seen these triangles that you set up.
Yeah.
And they're just as good too, especially
to
at nighttime because the reflectors on them and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's just hope we don't have that problem.
Yeah,
and none of us have that problem, especially going on a camping trip because again, it's less stress on you. You want to get to your campsite, you want to have a great time, and you don't want to have to be dealing with these unfortunate mishaps, that can and sometimes do happen. I also want to encourage everybody, too, that before you leave your destination, unless you know exactly where you are going, make sure that you print out a map or have your GPS coordinates available. For guys like you, Daniel, we've got our smartphones. Some people have the GPS units that sit on the dashboard of their vehicle. It's a modern day thing, and a lot of people have them today. Some people do not. And again, on our website, which is happycamperradio.com, I have a link right there to MapQuest, which has worked very well for me. Long before we got the show off the ground, I have used MapQuest on countless occasions to go ahead and map out, from my home to wherever I needed to travel. And it got me there each and every time without fault. So you want to make sure you know exactly where you're going. This is something else you want to make sure you take care of long before you go.
Yeah.
Here is also something important too, Daniel. Allow yourself adequate travel time and factor in rest stops.
Yeah, that's very important. When we were going up to DC, we always stopped at rest stops.
If you print something up on MapQuest, even if you program your coordinates into your GPS, It'll tell you roughly how long it's going to take for you to travel that distance nonstop. And again, you want to go ahead and factor everything in there so you are allowing yourself adequate time. The last thing you want to do is arrive at your camping destination at night. Daniel, this. I understand. I understand. Sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep in mind too that when you arrive at a public or private campground, and you arrive at nighttime, you're going to be there with the place all lit up. You're going to have headlights, flashlights. You're going to be making all kind of noise, and heaven forbid if it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night. This is not the time to be setting up camp.
Yeah.
I can tell you countless times I have been at campgrounds and I was bedded down. The fire had died down and I climbed in my sleeping bag. I was tired. I was ready to go ahead and start sawing some logs. And next thing you know, right there to the campsite next to me, here comes this vehicle, and I've got headlights blaring into my tent. I can hear the kids screaming and yelling, and everybody is out just trying to get their camp set up. That's not the time to be setting up. So again, that's why I encourage everybody to allow yourself adequate time to get to your destination. Now, if you're running around at the last moment and you're trying to get everything done, saying to myself, oh, what did I forget? I forgot to pick this up at the store. I got to run out and get this. I got to run out and get that. If you're in one of those situations, I highly encourage you to postpone your trip a day, if at all possible. If you're going to be running late, it's best to go ahead and postpone your trip, because you are going to stress yourself out getting there. You're going to stress your family out getting there. And that's the last thing you want to do on a camping trip, is arrive there and be stressed.
Well, that's kind of what we're doing going down to Disney. I'm working Saturday during the day, and we're probably leaving around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and we're gonna stay at a hotel halfway down there. But check in on Saturdays at 1 o'clock, and we figure we get there at 1 o'clock. We set up our stuff. We drive into town. We make sure that we have everything we need for the week or whatever. We tie up all the loose ends and get all the materials necessary. But definitely, if you don't have all your stuff together, you gotta don't rush, because things, I don't know what it is, but things happen when you rush. Bad things happen when you rush. Well, at least in my experience, bad things happen. You just need to take a breath and realize, this is about enjoying, the outdoors, enjoying, Mother Nature and everything.
You're absolutely right.
It'll still be there, but just realize that this is supposed to be fun. So don't stress out about it.
And trust me, you can get yourself stressed out.
Definitely.
It's really not worth it. If it's gotten to that point, where you're just putting everything off to the very last minute, these things are going to happen. And that's why I say, look, if you know that, you originally planned to get there at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and now you're not going to get there till 1 a.m., put your trip off for another day. All right. Hey, and I understand sometimes things do happen. You may end up having a situation where you've had to work late.
Yeah.
And, that was unexpected. Some people have jobs, that require their attention. When you think you're going to get out the door on time, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
And also another thing about running late, Daniel, regardless of what time you leave, obey all traffic laws to the letter. All right. Do not rush. Do not run traffic signs or stop signs, and do not speed to get to your destination, because, folks, I'll tell you right now, some of these campgrounds are going to be out there in the wilderness, and in some cases, maybe in all cases, you may have to travel through some of these small towns to get to your site. And if you're running late and you've got a lead foot and you're putting on the speed and you go through some of these little towns that have speed traps set up, heaven forbid, you really want to talk about being stressed out?
Yeah.
Get a traffic ticket that's going to run you about $300 to pay. All right,
Yeah.
At that particular point, you're going to want to turn around and go home.
Well, I know with our pop-up that we're pulling with us, we usually want to go about 10 miles below like the speed limit or whatever, because we're towing about 2,500 pounds, and you know, you don't want to go too fast. That's always a thing to think about. When you're towing a lot of weight like I am, you don't want to haul it. You don't want to be going 80, 90 miles an hour because you'll screw up your car.
You will.
You've got to go at a steady pace. You can't be flying down the road. It's very important for your vehicle's, you know, safety and everything.
Yeah, and Daniel, and I'm going to tell you something, and I know I may you know, twist some nerves by saying this here, but you know, in the times we're living in today, a lot of these smaller jurisdictions, okay, are cash strapped. And some of them rely upon traffic citations and the penalties in order to keep their government solvent. Think I'm kidding? Go ahead and Google it sometime.
Yeah.
You know, you will find some law enforcement heads out there that will come out and say, yes, I mean, it's a revenue generating thing.
Yeah.
It's not about punishment. You know, it's about, you know, generating revenue. And you know very well, Daniel, if you are 300 or 400 miles from home, all right, are you going to travel that distance again to go to traffic court and try to fight that ticket, or are you going to pay it?
Of course not. I mean,
yeah, you know, so yeah, it's going to be a losing situation for you. So, you know, definitely, you know, allow yourself the time and obey all traffic laws. You know, not only for the fact that, you know, they've got to be obeyed, but you also want to do that for the safety of you, your family, and other folks who are out on the road too. Arrive to your destination safely. Have a great time and enjoy your stress-free weekend or week-long camping trip or whatever the case may be. Our phone number here at Happy Camper Radio is 404-537-CAMP. You can give Daniel and I a call anytime with your camping question. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and add us to your circles on Google+. And every one of our social media icons are available by going to our website, which is www.happycamperradio.com. Daniel, it's time for our featured campground of the week here on Happy Camper Radio. Now, I know you plan on going down there where the temperatures are hot.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 87 this next week.
You know, and a week later, I'm going to be going up where it is cold. But, you know, right about now is a great time to travel out to the state of Arizona, and we're going to go to a place called Canyon Point. It is a great campground that is open all the way through Sunday, November the 10th. If you happen to be living out west and you're looking for a great camping destination, consider Canyon Point for a weekend trip away. At Canyon Point, they have 105 sites available. They have standard electric and non-electric sites. I've been to their website already, and they've got some great photographs there. Daniel, it's a very clean campsite. They've got an amphitheater there. They've got campfire rings at every campsite, plenty of firewood. And again, when we talked about firewood before, this is one of those areas right there where they do not allow you to bring wood from outside the area in there because of the, you know, the bug infestation and all those other things. So they encourage you to go ahead and buy your camping logs and everything locally there. They have a campground host. They have plenty of hiking. And Daniel, you want to talk about some great sightseeing out there. And if you want to go ahead and take, you know, this into consideration, visit it on our website. It's going to be there all week long. It's Canyon Point, Arizona. It is our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, you can email us, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Or just simply go to our website, www.happycamperradio.com, and click on the Contact Us button. Please make sure that you include a link to the campground website. You know, Daniel, there's plenty of campgrounds out there that you and I have not even had the time to visit.
No, there's not.
And
I want to go to them all.
You know, hey, and we're always in the learning process.
Yep.
You know, and I know there's some folks out there that stayed at some awesome campgrounds, and
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
I don't know anything about them, but I sure would like to. You can share them with us again. You know, hey, by all means, you know, check us out. Daniel, it's been a great episode.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and get together next week, possibly.
From Disney. Ooh.
Yeah, okay. Well, at least you will anyway. We're going to work on that. We'll see how that works, okay?
All right.
The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper. Woo. His wife is definitely going to be a happy camper here in a day or two. Daniel, have yourself a wonderful time. Folks, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for joining us.